Actors, we've all got issues, so let's talk about them. I'm Juan Ayala, and welcome to Actors with Issues. Each week, we bring you interviews with actors from across TV, film, and Broadway, taking many deep dives into their careers and getting into the successes, the struggles, and of course, the issues that they face as actors. That's enough about us. Let's dive into the episode. Today's guest is an actress you've seen on stage and on screen, from Homeland and Cruel Summer to HBO Max series Rap Shit and taking the stage on Broadway. Please welcome to the stage, Ashlei Sharpe Chestnut. Ashlei, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
So before we dive into Rap Shit and all of your other current work, we always play with a game, or we always play a game called Getting to Know You. Just throw some rapid fire questions your way to get to know you a little better. So we always start with coffee or tea.
Oh, tea.
Film or TV?
The last thing I saw was TV, so I'll say TV.
Drama or comedy?
Comedy.
Hero or villain?
Villain.
New York or LA?
Oh, okay. I'll say LA because I'm in LA right now. I'll say LA. LA.
Stage acting or screen acting?
Both, but I'm drinking out of a theater mug, so I'm gonna say stage.
I love the balance. You're in LA, but you're gonna do theater. Balance, as all actors should be, right? What actors had the biggest influence on you?
Oh, there's so many. I mean, I think Viola Davis, because I think, speaking of like television and film and stage, I think she's been able to do those gracefully. I've been looking up to her for a really long time. I think Viola Davis. Yeah,
She's a pretty popular answer.
yeah. She's great. She's iconic.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
What is the last show that you binge watched?
Okay, so there's this new show called The Patient on well, I guess it's FX/Hulu. Steve Carell,
Yeah, yeah.
Domhnall Gleeson. They just released like the first two episodes. I just went straight through them, and I'm obsessed.
Yeah, it's on my queue. I've been wanting to watch that. Like, as soon as they announced the trailer, I'm like, oh, a psychopath or a serial killer kidnaps his therapist? Okay. See where this
And I
goes.
love it. It's like the perfect time too, because it's like Halloween's right around the corner. It's
Right.
dark. It's good.
Yeah. What was your first non-acting job?
I was a camp counselor at the YMCA.
If you could have lunch with any actor, dead or alive, who would it be?
Oh wow. You said actor?
Hmm.
Okay. Eartha Kitt.
Good choice. What movie never fails to make you laugh?
Hmm. Talladega Nights, Ballad of Ricky Bobby.
And what movie never fails to make you cry?
I cried everything.
Me too.
I mean, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, Rocky Four. I mean, I think so many things.
Yeah. And lastly, describe your most memorable audition in 3 words. And memorable can be good or bad. So up to you.
Okay, off key. Um, Hilarious and fun.
Do you want to tell the story of that audition?
Oh my God. So yes, actually, why not? So I was auditioning for, I think it was Star on Fox.
Mhm.
Anyway, so I went to the casting office. They asked me to prepare a song and like a pop culture song, and they said in the notes like Sade, Rihanna, Alicia Keys. So I was like, Sade, it's smooth, it's easy, I can do that. Well, it's not, Sade's not easy, but I felt confident enough to sing Sade. So I go in, I do my scene first because I know I'm gonna hit it out of the park. So I do my scene, then I do my song. I did the Sade like smooth operator. It was really great. And then they go, well, hey Ashley, do you have anything a little bit more upbeat, anything more a little bit more poppy? And I said, can you give me like 5 minutes to prepare and I'll come right back. And they said, no, just come, just do it right now. And so I said, okay, I guess I can do like Alicia Keys. And I don't know why I chose Fallen. She has that like high note, like Anyway, long story short, I get to that part, I butcher it, and you can see the reaction just completely shift. They were like, oh, Thanks, Ashley. And then I obviously laughed, but
Oh man.
it was like in hindsight, it's funny, but in the moment, I was like, crap, like, why didn't I just take the 5 minutes and just say no? I don't know.
Right. Oh man. You know, I feel like it's those auditions where things go terribly wrong are like the biggest learning opportunities. You know, I'm sure now you're like, I need to have a backup song in case they ask for a second one. Yeah, but you know, those are always like, especially in hindsight, you might think like then, like, oh my God, this is horrible. And then, you know, a week later, you're like, well, next time we're going to avoid this from ever happening again. So we're going to do this, this, and this, you know?
Learning experiences for sure.
Yeah. So as we all know, you know, no two artists' journeys are alike. So I'm curious, when did acting first come onto your radar as a career? And then when was it that you decided, like, I'm going to go all in and pursue this as a career?
When I was 3 years old, I knew I wanted to act, but I guess professionally, I'd say middle school. I went to a performing arts high school, and I think
Mm,
that's where I realized that, like, oh, this could be my career. Like, I've always wanted to do it, but the steps that I could take to do it began in middle school.
So, is there anything that you know now regarding acting or the entertainment industry that you wish you'd learned just like a little bit earlier, or just maybe way earlier in your career that could have helped you along the way?
Yeah, I mean, I think people forget that this is a business. There are business aspects to this. It's not just performing.
Mm,
I really wish that I knew. Uh, I mean, I wouldn't do anything different, but I think I differently. But I think just knowing how to like market yourself, the networking aspect. Uh, I mean, just how residuals work. I mean, just like there's
right.
math involved, that like money. It's just a lot. You know, I feel like the business side, I would have loved to, you know, have.
Yeah. I still don't know how residuals work. I'm like, I just check the SAG app every couple months and I'm like, okay, cool. That's what I'm getting. Okay, sweet.
Right, right.
Uh, but yeah, I think that actors, you know, I think every acting program needs to have a marketing class, a finance class, an entrepreneurship class. Like these should all be like requirements because like there's so much that like the second you leave acting school or the program that you were in, there's so much that you still don't know that you're not going to learn unless someone like really who has been through it and gets it is going to be able to then teach it to you after. But I feel like finance is something actors generally, artists generally are not good at.
No, we're
Yeah.
not. To be fair, I was good at math, but you know, that was back in the day.
Same. Yeah, I'm good with numbers, but then finance, I'm like, now I have like, you know, their budgeting apps and stuff.
Yeah.
Every actor needs to have, but you know, we learn, you know, we learn. School of hard knocks.
Right?
So, as we mentioned before, you have worked on a number of great projects, you know, from Homeland and Cruel Summer. Last year was like the biggest hit of the summer. And most recently with Rap Shit. So, first, what has your experience been like working on the show? I know you're recurring on it. But yeah, so what's your experience been like working on a show run by Issa Rae?
It's a dream, to be honest. I think because I was watching her show Awkward Black Girl in college, I just remember being in my dorm room on my laptop watching her YouTube series, being like, oh man, I really want to work with this woman. And then now having the opportunity to not only work with her, but like, you know, I hugged her. It's just weird. It's been kind of surreal. And I just feel so grateful. And especially the way in which she's kind of shifted uh, our culture in a way, you know, I
Mhm.
think with representation and just the she's hitting different markets. She's hitting the music market. She's obviously hitting the television market. She has her hand in a little bit of everything, which I really love and admire. Yeah, it's just been a phenomenal experience, and the people that I've been able to come across with on this show has been just great.
A colleague of mine at Media Village, where I do some writing for, he wrote like a rave review of the show, and I love what he said in his review. He mentioned that you know there are a number of shows that touch on the music industry, and particularly with people of color. There's Power, Star, Queens, which came out I think earlier this year or last year.
Yeah, yeah.
But he said that this one felt the most grounded and real, and I couldn't agree more because Issa has such a way of writing and just like it's just so real. Like everyone is so grounded and no one feels like a trope or a stereotype in her writing. She really embraces like the universality, despite it being such a specific story of
Mm.
like the rap game, from the lens of two black women, but it's such a universal story still and so relatable. So what can you speak on that?
I think too, well, I'm originally from Florida and it takes place in Miami. So being able to like the accents of some of the actors, I don't know if like so I know a lot of Floridians we pick up on it. And
Mm,
I think too, looking at Twitter and seeing the people react and acknowledge like, oh, these people actually they know the accents, they know, I mean, granted, some of us are actually from Florida, but it's really interesting just to connect the two, I guess.
mm,
I don't know if I'm making sense, but just knowing that like it's authentic. And I think that's a reason why Issa and our like Sarita and like all of them, like our execs, they chose for us to specifically film in Miami to bring that authentic experience to the show. And I think you see that.
mm. Yeah, absolutely. And with such a variety of shows, genres, and styles that you've done sort of like these more slightly lighthearted comedies. You've done Broadway. You've done these darker dramas over the years. Which of your roles stands out as the biggest learning experience?
Oh, I have something coming out that I can't talk about yet, but
Uh,
this so we'll have to talk again because
yeah.
that I'll be very vague because I know they're probably going to be watching this to make sure I don't say anything. But that experience by far, I think, without stepping on any toes, it just the I'm just gonna shut the fuck up because I oh sorry, sorry. I'm just gonna be
Absolutely. It's on
quiet.
YouTube. Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. I'm just gonna be quiet because and I'll say a different one. I'll say Ratchet because I'm on there right now. And again, just to reiterate, I think just learning about myself, advocating for myself as an actor,
Mm,
uh, asking for another take if you need it, uh, knowing like for example, for me, if I know I can do something better, I'll always ask for a different take
mm.
if there's time. Just advocating for myself in that regard too.
And similarly, so with our show being called Actors with Issues, we do always like to touch on the issues and obstacles that our guests have faced, have overcome, or are still dealing with. So, what comes to mind as something that you have dealt with, or maybe are still dealing with, that you can shed some light on for our audience of actors?
Um, I think I mean, this has kind of been said before, like hair, especially for Black women. I mean, on set, I think it's kind of been an issue. I mean, I
Mm,
think it's getting better. I can say that for sure. But I think, when if you don't feel confident in the way your hair is presented on screen, how can I be confident and comfortable to give that full performance? And I think in the past, I don't think I've been able to give my best performance sometimes if I felt uncomfortable with the way I physically look um, coming out of preparing myself.
mm.
Um, I think that's one of the biggest things for me because I feel like once that kind of hinders me again that hinders me from giving like a really good performance if I don't feel like I'm connected to my character because of my physical appearance. Um,
Yeah, I think that it's definitely, like you said, it has been talked about and addressed, and some shows are doing more to be able to get stylists and hairstylists and makeup artists who are more familiar working on different skin tones. And
mhm.
I think that it's something that is still very much an issue because I feel like we hear stories about it all the time, especially in particular with like photography and like magazine spreads. You can like the
God,
lighting can be bad. Like people look
crazy.
gray. It's just like, how is this? It still blows my mind how it's like still happening on like major
Right.
publications. I'm like, who signed off on this? But
You
we can
know
get
who
into it.
signed off.
Right. People lacking melanin. But so sort of speaking about representation, not in terms of on screen, but sort of like one's team. So like your reps. A question that I get a lot from a lot of our young, especially like on Reddit and on Instagram and stuff, folks always want to know like what young actors can do to get on the radar of an agent or a manager to expand their team or get their first rep? Because I feel like that's what young actors struggle with the most,
Mhm.
especially when it's that awful cycle of like you need more credits to get on their radar, but you can't get credits without them, at least ones that they'll care about. So like what sort of advice can you give?
Uh, for me, I can give my story of how I got mine because I don't really know the way, but I think for me, I don't. Do you remember One on One in New York? I think there's one out here in
Yeah,
LA.
yeah, yeah.
But so they had like a pay for play where you pay to meet with like agents and stuff like that. And so that's where I got my first uh agent. And then they ended up like closing down, if you will, and they went into management. But at the time, I didn't need a manager, so I emailed different agencies
Mm.
and asked for a meeting, and I took some meetings, and that's how I got my agent that I'm still with. But no path is the same. But I
Yeah.
think I always encourage people to email if you can. I mean, I know sometimes it feels like you're just sending it out into the ether with nothing, but I always say if you can email, send a headshot in the mail. I know it's old school. Do anything you can because sometimes you get a hit back.
Before we go, we always wrap up with a non-rapid fire game called Now That We Know You. So we just throw some longer form questions your way. So fill in the blank. If I weren't working in the arts, I'd be.
Oh, either a judge or a politician.
I wanted to be a lawyer once upon a time, and I figured I'll just play one eventually. I've done it on stage, but not on screen yet.
Oh,
What role have you had the most fun playing?
the one I can't talk about.
We'll learn
Sorry.
eventually. It's okay. We'll have you back. What is the best advice you've ever gotten?
Oh, so many. It's it's a two-parter. It's one is it's a marathon, not a sprint. And the other advice is that if it's for you, it's for you. I'm butchering it,
Mm.
but essentially, it's like what's yours is yours, and no one can take that away.
And what's the worst advice you've ever gotten?
Oh man, um, worst. Oh God, sorry, I'm taking so much time. I think. Oh, I don't know. Don't get a lawyer. Get a lawyer.
Oh man, just sign here. Like no,
Yeah, yeah. Like signings. Yeah, always read the fine print. Like yeah, yeah, yeah.
always.
They get a lawyer. Like people, I've been told in the past, you don't need a lawyer right now. No, get a lawyer.
And lastly, in 10 words or less, what advice would you give to a young actor?
I think I'd forward what I was told, which what's yours is yours, and then oh, what was the other one I said? I forgot the other one I said, but what's yours is yours, and no one can take that away. I think
Love that.
that's
Awesome. Well, social media, Instagram, where can our lovely fans find you if they want to give you a follow?
sure. My Instagram is at Ashlei Sharpe Chestnut.
And folks, you know the drill. You can find us on Instagram at Actors with Issues. Give me a follow at Juaniala Official, and you can find more of our show on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts every Monday with bonus episodes on Thursdays. And don't miss the finale of Rap Shit streaming on HBO Max on September 1st. I'm Juaniala. This is Actors with Issues, and we'll see you next week.